Welcome to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. The weather is absolutely beautiful here in Chicago, except if you suffer from allergies. It's allergy season, so a lot of people are sniffing and their eyes are puffy. I do feel for them, but I'm enjoying this weather. I've been waiting for it for such a long time. For me, I had a great family outing this weekend on Saturday. It was so nice to see some family members, which I don't get to see often. Some people came in from out of town and we really kicked it. So it was great to hang out with family and friends. So it was really nice. So here we are. We're about part 3 of Manifesting Your Desires. Last week, we briefly summarized the first foundational concepts, and we went over in detail the second concept in manifesting your desires. So I'm going to briefly kind of go over those 2 concepts, but just to refresh your memory. But if you want to really understand and really dive into it fully, I would suggest that you click below where it says read more and download my previous shows so you can really understand these 2 concepts to kind of help you manifest what you wanted to desire in your life. So the first concept that we went over is that God is in all and all is in God, meaning you're connected to God's source energy and God's source energy is in you and you are in God's source energy. This is such an important concept of understanding who you are. We also talked about some hindrances that can prevent you from really becoming the true essence of concept 1, meaning that you're connected to God's source energy. And some of those hindrances, well, not some, many of the hindrances reside in your subconscious mind, your beliefs, your emotions, habits, values, your reactions, long-term memory, your imagination. It's all formed and housed in your subconscious mind. Another fundamental idea that may hinder us from understanding this concept is the thought of being impeccable, to be without sin. Anything that is viewed as a sin, a haram, a dharam, or any immoral act is actually an act against yourself, because God and you are one. So once you get those concepts and understand how they can hinder you from being connected and knowing that as you think, as you feel, you become and you actually attract those things back into your life. The second concept that we went over in this pragmatic approach in manifesting your desires is the heart-brain harmony. I know that's a mouthful, but we learned that the human heart is the strongest biological generator of electrical and magnetic fields. So what does that mean? It means that the heart has the capability to generate the very field that the world is composed of. I just need you to kind of just think about that. The heart, your human heart, has the capability to generate the very fields that the world is composed of. So when you have a feeling in your heart, we're actually creating the electrical and the magnetic waves that change the quality of atoms in our world. This is why I made it such a point to emphasize in part 1 of this series that feelings are the key to manifestation. Now, I know you've heard, because we all talk about it with the law of attraction and other concepts, that your thought creates your reality. That's partly true. New studies have shown that the brain also generates electrical magnetic fields, but they are weak when they're compared to what's produced by the heart. The heart is about 100 times stronger electrically than the human brain and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the human brain. So it's the heart that generates the power that is the essence, the key to manifesting things. Our brain creates the image of what we would like to see or what we would like to experience. That's why it's important to lock that image in place in your brain. There are many various techniques to do this. Like for me and my clients, we do something called the RS concept, which you can look up if you want to, but it's quite fun in creating this process of locking the image in the brain. Once you've locked this image into place, you need to feel the feeling that it is done already. And more important, generate the feeling of gratitude of what has already happened. Gratitude, being thankful for it and acting as if it already occurred in your mind's eye and in your heart. So you have this feeling of thankfulness and knowing that it's already done. That's very important in your feelings. This is what gives the power to what we're thinking, gratitude. So this is how the second concept works in manifesting your desire. The heart and the brain must work in harmony. The images of the brain creates and helps generate the feeling in the heart, and the feelings come together and manifest desire and actually emanate the electrical and the magnetic waves to attract what you want in your life. So today we're going to kind of talk about how these subconscious thoughts, these paradigms in our subconscious, how we get rid of them. This is concept number 3. How do we get rid of things that no longer serve us? What we think, how our molecules are structured is all based on our emotions, our emotional states, our feelings. Psychologists tells us that 75% of our thoughts are negative and they're redundant. It's the same thing over and over that we're playing in our mind and in our hearts, these feelings, these emotions that no longer serve us. New biological studies, especially epigenetics, reveals how our emotions and mind perceptions control our genes. In the past, we used to think that it's our genes. So if my grandmother had cancer, my mother has cancer, I'm going to have cancer. But now they're starting to understand that it's based on our emotions. It's based on our thoughts. So if we think that, that's how we changed our genes to actually attract it into our life. Throughout this series, we talked about how the conscious mind, which is the creative part of our brain, is in contrast to the subconscious mind, which is the primary foundational piece to all things that are in our lives. So tonight, it's important that we just kind of really dive into how to change our subconscious mind, how to change those paradigms, those beliefs, those values that no longer serve us. And here's the interesting part about it. Nature has designed the child's brain for the first 6 years to download data about the community, the principal rules and regulations, beliefs, systems, perceptions, which is all stored, you guessed it, in the subconscious mind. So pretty much as an adult, you're really basing your thoughts, your beliefs, and everything on your beliefs that you created when you were 6 years old. And as you get older, you're trying to create something different in your life, right? You don't want to be stuck as a 6-year-old viewing life and creating things in life, right? So how do we change that? So this is what we're going to really go into deeply tonight. So right now I'm going to go on a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about techniques on how to change these paradigms. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Attracting Your Life radio show, and I'm coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Maisha. And before the break, we were talking about the subconscious mind and how our lives is a printout of our subconscious mind, which operates 95% of the time. So that means only 5% of the time are we really working on our conscious mind, which is the creative part of our mind. This is the part that reads and kind of tries to pick up concepts, but it really doesn't penetrate to the subconscious mind. So we're going to talk about today how we get into the subconscious mind and kind of change those beliefs, emotions, habits, values that are no longer serving us. Many experts have found that conventional talk therapy has an inherent limitation. The problem of talk therapy is that it continues to visit the hurts and pains. And by constantly going over them, we dig a deeper and deeper groove in our brain. And this is what created the problem. And so we're just digging it deeper. One has to replace the negative conditioning with a new positive form of thinking. We basically have to substitute the old thoughts with new thoughts. It takes a lot of energy to repress negative beliefs and feelings. So that's why a lot of people feel like talk therapy is the best way to kind of bring them out. But if you're not putting anything back in, you kind of leave that space open for negative energy to kind of reside in there. So when we bottle up our emotions, they're robbing us of energy that we can use for manifesting and healing. The issue of change is so critical because the subconscious mind does not learn like the conscious mind. So like I said before, the conscious mind is more or less, you can read a book, you can go to class, learn concepts, listening to this radio show. It's just working on the conscious mind. It's not penetrating to the subconscious mind. Or, it gives you a state of euphoria. Like sometimes when people go to church or they just exercise, they feel this euphoric feeling like, yes, I'm ready for change, but it really doesn't penetrate unless there's a habit forming that really penetrates into the subconscious mind. So tonight, we'll cover ways to engage to actively create a new program within the subconscious mind. There is not an easy way to this process, and we'll go over several methods. But one thing I want to emphasize is get a coach. So many people try to do this on their own. Even myself, I have several coaches for different things that I'm working on, and for me to kind of enhance my modality so I can help with my clients. Some people try to do this alone, and they waste a lot of time and they find themselves in the same spot doing the same thing over and over. And they wonder why they haven't created or manifested things that they want in their life. Okay, that's my spiel about coaching, but know this to be true. The most priceless investment that you can make is the investment to your own personal growth. That is key to anything in life. So just think about that. Okay, so let's talk about techniques and how to reprogram and get into the subconscious mind and get rid of things that no longer serve us. One technique is energy healing and touch therapy. This is a direct and gentle way to address deep issues and release these programs in our subconscious mind in a very subtle and effective way, without reliving the trauma that caused it in the first place. As I've stated before, I'm an energy healer, and energy healers enter in a different place. We go in deep. I mean, some things that you'll find that people are holding on from when they were 5 years old. And so we go in through a deep psychosomatic network. Everything is based on how we're wired, and we're wired based on how we think and how we process things. As we learned last week, our thinking and our emotions are connected and they hold a vibration frequency in our heart. So touch therapy and healing energy work will help get through that. Another technique is meditation. Chances you've already heard the benefits of meditation, so I won't go into too much detail, but just know this important fact. When you meditate, you blur the boundaries of the conscious and the unconscious, begin a sort of integration process. This is why when you first start practicing meditation, you're told to focus on your breathing. Breathing is one of the actions that can be controlled both by the conscious and the subconscious mind. So scientists usually classify meditation in 3 categories. 1, focused attention. 2, open monitoring, and the third is effortless presence. So these are the 3 types of meditation that I'm going to go over. So focused attention meditation is focusing the attention on one single object during the whole meditation process. This object may be the breath, a mantra, visualization, a part of the body, an external object, or whatever. Both the depth and the steadiness of one's attention are developed through this meditation process. So examples of this type of meditation, focused attention meditation, is Samantha, which is a Buddhist meditation, some forms of Zen, loving kindness meditation, chakra meditation, Kundalini meditation, sound meditation, mantra meditations, pran, and some forms of Qigong. So these are all considered focused attention meditation. The second form of meditation is called open monitoring. Instead of focusing on your attention on any one object, one keeps it open, monitoring all the aspects or experiences without judgment or attachment. All perceptions be like some type of internal process of thoughts, feelings, memory, or external such as sound, smells, are all recognized and seen for what they are. Process is a non-reactive monitoring of the content or the experience. It's just going free-flowing from moment to moment without going into depth about these experiences. Examples of these type of open monitoring meditation is mindfulness, Vipassana, I think I pronounced that right, as well as some type of hours of meditation. So these are all types of open monitoring meditation. Once again, you're not focusing on an object, you're just kind of monitoring the experiences that you're feeling during this meditation. And then the third type of meditation is called effortless presence. And this state is where the attention is not focused on anything in particular, but it responds to itself in quiet, empty steadiness and introvertedness. You can also call it choiceless awareness or pure being. This is the God state. This is the actual type of meditation that everyone tries to get to. So we'll talk more about this when we come back from a break. Once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maija. And stay tuned so we can talk more about this type of meditation. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maija, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we were talking about effortless presence meditation. And I know I'm going over a lot of information today. So if you you guys have any questions, feel free to call at 1-866-451-1451. Once again, that's 866-451-1451. So in regards to effortless presence meditation, this is the actual true purpose behind all kinds of meditation. And so this is a traditional technique. So a lot of the quotes that you hear about meditation is really touching into this space, into this quiet inner silence, this deep state of consciousness that is discovered through a constant practice of meditation. Whatever meditation you start with, essentially you want to get to this state. This is the state of God consciousness, pure silence, the pure being, the choiceless awareness. This is when all is connected. And that's what you're trying to get to through meditation. And some forms of this meditation is transcendental meditation, also called as TM. I think this practice is phenomenal. I just went through recently, training for TM, and I thought it was revolutionary. I love it. This is the type of a meditation that a lot of the stars talk about. Oprah talks about it. Ellen DeGeneres. A lot of people talk about TM. It's a really wonderful practice. If you can ever get involved in it, it's wonderful. Another type is heart rhythm meditation called HRM. And this is a good meditation too. And I do this with my kids. It's something that you can really find peace with this one in a quick way. It doesn't take a lot of training for this. Another one is self-inquiry, and this is the I am meditation. Another form is yoga. Yes, yoga is a form of meditation, and it would fall under the category of effortless presence. So before starting one of these type of meditation techniques, do your homework, reach out to a meditation practitioner, a coach, and figure out which kind of meditation is best for you. Okay. So the third technique, and I want to go over in releasing and creating new paradigms in your subconscious mind, is hypnotherapy. Hypnosis works very similar to meditation. The only difference is, and the benefit is being that there's someone who's guiding you every step of the way. Many people find that meditation doesn't work for them because they get distracted easily, or they just can't figure out how to be both relaxed and invested in the same way. And what I mean by invested is when you find yourself in this presence of peace and calmness and oneness, the God conscious state, this is when you should try to put new thoughts, visualizations into your subconscious mind. So some people find that to be difficult to do through meditation. So hypnotherapy may be the best thing for them. Someone is helping you through this to keep focus. And the fact that you probably had to pay to have a session will help you with this investment process. Do your homework. You'll find that there's a wide variety of guided meditations and recorded hypnotherapy videos that you can find online too. But there's nothing that beats a one-on-one session with a coach or a hypnotherapist or an intuitive counselor to kind of help you with that process. So the fourth technique in releasing the paradigms of your subconscious is sleep. Yes, I said sleep. Sleep is like meditation, and it's a time when the boundary of the two minds is thinner. So how do we often, just think about it. How often do you find yourself laying in bed right before you fall asleep and you're thinking about things that you don't want to do tomorrow, or things that are stressing you out from the past day? Or have you ever found yourself drifting to sleep and you're fighting with things that you really don't want to be in your mind, but you're thinking about them, you can't even get them out of your mind? This is unfortunate side effect of the culture that teaches us that fight and fear and controlling is what we have to do rather than focusing on the things that we do want to create. So many of us get wrapped up in our culture of constantly working and worrying about things that we don't want to create. And especially if it's done before the last 8 minutes of your day, right before you fall asleep, you're actually ingraining your subconscious mind. You're sending thoughts in electric and magnetic waves out to the universe saying, I want more of this in my life. This is why I teach my clients an 8-minute mindful ritual that I started actually with my boys, and I saw the effects, and then I started doing it with myself. Actually, I use my kids as a guinea pig. Yes, I know. It had a profound effect on their subconscious mind, just the way they perceive things. I would hear my kids, like things that would get other kids down. They were like, well, we can look at it this way. They were finding different ways, positive ways to look at things that others would view negative. And so the last 8 minutes right before you fall asleep are the most important time of your day in actually creating and manifesting, because you can actually play in your mind what you want to create, locking in that image. That's going back to locking in that image and locking the feeling in your heart of what you want to create. So try to do that. That's a simple way of doing it. That's simple instructions on how to do the 8-minute ritual that I usually teach to my clients and I do with my kids. The fifth ritual, and this is the final technique that I really want to talk about in reprogramming your mind, is rituals. Rituals is an important part of society. Every culture, every individual has some type of ritual, from going to church, meetings, or every Sunday having a family dinner. Rituals are the way that we create the subconscious mind. For me, I like doing full moon, new moon ceremonies with my family, friends, and clients. During a full moon, this is when we release things that no longer serve us. I actually go through a whole process of rewriting the thing that we want to release in our life on a note card, and we actually put it in the fireplace or put it in a fire pit and kind of watch it burn. And it's actually a time that we all come together collectively and we help each other release those things that no longer serve us. It could be, an old boyfriend that may have hurt us, maybe a view how we feel about weight loss. For me, I always fought with weight loss, had issues with my weight, and until I realized what was a subconscious belief that no longer served me. And releasing that kind of helped. So we're going to go on a commercial break, and we're going to talk more about a little bit about rituals and all the overall processes, all the 5 different techniques. And I'll take questions if you have any questions. So stay tuned. Once again, this is Maija. You're listening to Attracting Your Life, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Welcome back, everyone. This is Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maija. And once again, we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, I was telling you about rituals, and specifically about the moon ceremonies that I do with my family, friends, and clients. So we went over the full moon, and I want to talk to you about the new moon. So under the new moon, this is when we create mantras and how we manifest and what we want to manifest in our lives. So I think during the new moon, this is like such an important time, because kind of think of like when a woman is pregnant, it's inside. And the new moon is hidden. You can't see it. And so this kind of like a time of like reflecting what you want to put into the earth, or what you want to put into your mind, your subconscious mind, and want to see it grow. So the new moon is just as important as the full moon. And I've shared before that moon ceremonies are, it works with your body, because you've heard so many times people are saying, oh, it must be a full moon. Everybody's acting crazy, or everybody's acting weird. Well, it's because that the moon, just like with the tides in the ocean, it affects the tides in the ocean. 75% of our body is water. So if the body of ocean is affected by the moon, so are we, because we have 75% of our body is water. So it's a wonderful ritual, but there's all types of other rituals. Like I said, church is a ritual. Just understand what's the purpose of the ritual. That you're actually creating mindsets, values, and beliefs in your subconscious mind. And if you find that one of these rituals are not serving you to support the type of belief that you want to go forward in your life, then change it. Do your homework. Try to find different rituals that support the growth that you want to go through and what you want to do. But just understand that the purpose of it is you're building a community of people, or you're participating with a community of people who have the same mindset and the same belief of what you want to develop in your life. So these are the techniques that I wanted to go over. This series was very important to me, because so many people come to me, they're like, I want to change this, I want to create this, but they don't understand how important it is to go through the process of laying the foundation of the concepts of how you manifest. It's so important. Concept number 1, understanding that you and God are connected, that the connection of you connected to God source energy, or whatever you would like to call it, that higher being, higher self, knowing that you are one with that being is making you understand how powerful you are, how powerful your words are, your thoughts, your feelings are. So that's like the foundational step, manifesting anything in your life. The second concept of the brain and the heart working in harmony. We went over how the electrical and the magnetic field waves that are emanated through the heart are the same that actually change the atoms in the world. So this is science. This is not some hokey dokey kind of thing, some supernatural kind of thing. This is actual science and manifesting your desires. You have to understand that the image that you have locked in your brain, you have to understand what type of feeling do you have in creating that image. How is it going to feel to have that perfect mate? How's it going to feel when you have that job that you've been working so hard for? How's it going to feel when you graduate from college? Or, how's it going to feel to have whatever that thing that you want to create in your life? Having and holding that desire, that feeling in your heart at all times while you're manifesting is important, because you're actually sending out those waves out to the universe to attract that desire that you want in your life. So many people, we get focused on what we don't want. Oh, I've heard so many people when they first start coming to me, they're telling me that their mantra, I ask them, what is their affirmations, what they're doing? They're like, law of attraction doesn't work for me. I would say, why is law of attraction not work? They're like, I do these affirmations every day. And I was like, let's look at your affirmation. They say, I don't want any more bills, or I am not in debt. But saying that, you're actually asking for more debt or asking for more bills, instead of making an affirmation or mantra of more like, I am creating wealth in my life. I circulate money wherever I go. Money comes to me quickly. These are just a few affirmations, but it's not just saying the affirmation, it's part of the process. And I was saying to you earlier, I do this process with my clients. It's called RS, where we actually go through the process of living it. And living it is powerful, of being in that state of mind, of having your desire be real to you. And there's a lot of ways of doing that. And that's through, one of the ways is is actually feeling it, but feeling it in a way that is real. So we actually put the person into that mindset of doing it. I don't know a simple way to do this or kind of tell you about it in the radio. It's kind of a concept. It's like a 2-week concept of us doing it, and then we actually live it. So when you live it, you kind of generate the feelings of gratitude, because that's another feeling that's very important to have, is gratitude, to be grateful for the idea, for the image, for the desire that you want to come in your life, as if it's already there. And sometimes people get stuck in doing that. How can I be grateful for something I don't have? I don't have it, Maisha. I don't know how to feel grateful for it. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. And through the process of RS, you can really learn how to be in that state. And then you can have that gratitude, which is an important feeling in manifesting. But, these are not concepts that come overnight. It is through a process. And that's why I was emphasizing it's important for you to get a coach or have somebody to work with, get a book or get a journal, listen to these audios over and over, whatever it takes for you to really change your subconscious mind, because that's where everything is really happening. It's in your subconscious mind, changing those beliefs, emotions, habits, values in your subconscious mind. Because people say, oh, if I do something 21 times, I get this, I get a new change in my life. Well, that's what we're talking about, changing the subconscious mind. But sometimes it takes longer than 21 days. Sometimes it takes longer than 30 days. It's really understanding what is that belief or that value that needs to be changed and de-rooted. So we can talk more about this. We can take some of your calls if you have questions. We're going to go on a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to come and talk more about this. Once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life Radio. This is Maisha, and I'm coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we were just talking more about the subconscious mind and kind of trying to understand ways to de-root things that no longer serve us, that are deep-rooted into our subconscious mind. And, people struggle most often to improve their mental well-being because it's the most ambiguous and the hardest to see tangible results. Meditation, that was one of the techniques that we went over. seems to be one of the best ways to help people mentally reduce stress and develop peace and tranquility. But finding the best technique or the best meditation sometimes can find people frustrated. They get irritated because they don't think they're doing right. There's no right or wrong way. Eventually through time and through repetitive, doing something over and over, you'll find and you'll reach that peaceful, mindful state of consciousness that we're trying to go to. And when you hit that mindfulness, that's when you should try to visualize what is that concept or desire that you would like to achieve in your life. It's not just getting into that peaceful state and just kind of staying in that. It's also taking that time to visualize the next step or next desire. And sometimes people have a hard time doing that. And that's why I was telling you about hypnotherapy, because through hypnotherapy, you have someone who's guiding you through it. The power of thought, consciousness, and positive, repetitive, conscious thought is so important in making new patterns in your mind. Negative thoughts are equally as powerful, and we're bombarded with negative thoughts and concepts through media, through, the news, who, to me, over-exaggerates everything. And constantly having negative thoughts bombard you, it gives you a sense of fear. It helps us, it creates this state of confusion and lack of peace in our mind. We walk, down the streets holding lots of judgment and false beliefs of different races, cultures, and people. And these negative intentions and thoughts have a negative effect on ourselves and to the super consciousness of the universe. So it's not just us that's being affected, that's having these negative emotions that we harbor inside of us. It's also the super consciousness that is affected by these negative thoughts and these negative intentions. That's why it's so important to understand the way the mind works. The mind doesn't focus on the dialogue of talking through affirmations. The mind really concentrates on images. So that's why, like I said earlier, that affirmations without the feeling or the image associated with the affirmation, it just doesn't work. It's just mindless words. It's really tying it with the image, tying it with the feeling, and actually living it. RS, just kind of really getting into it. And through RS is that concept really helps people on how to walk through and making those affirmations, these desires to come into manifestation in our life. This is, like I said before, that's a technique that I help with clients to understand and kind of create that mantra and that script for their life. Do we have a caller online?
Hello.
Hello. Caller? You have to turn down the radio because I hear echo. Oh, okay. All right. I don't hear echo anymore. That's great. What is your question? What's your name first?
So I'm supposed to be calling into this thing on BetLife. So what's really going on?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear your question. We just got disconnected. So I don't know if that was really a question, or I'm not sure if she just kind of jumped in on the wrong line. I think she said something about FetLife, which that's interesting that she would call this. But anyway, the number is 866-451-1451 if you have a question. We're going through a lot of different techniques and different things tonight. So if you have a question, I will answer it. But back to what I was saying, that, we walk around with all these different beliefs, negative beliefs, and how it affects the superconscious mind. So it's not just us who are affected by these negative beliefs, so is our environment. That's why I was saying that it was important for you to understand how the mind works. And I was telling you how that, affirmations and mantras without feelings and images attached to them, they don't work. They are just useless words. So that's why it's important. And I share this with you today and I really walk it through with my clients, is how to effectively script, how to effectively live it, so you can have a mindset of gratitude, and then create mantras that have feelings and images tied to it. The mind is just about images. So, for example, if the doctor tells you that you have cancer, knock on wood, I hope they never tell you anything like that. And you go home and you try to create an affirmation to kind of get this out, right? If your affirmation that you're saying 3 times a day says that I don't have cancer, the mind just starts to focus and create images of cancer forming in the body. This is why it's so important to learn how to do, I call them affirmations, mantras, and how to say them effectively, how to create them effectively. Many of you create counterintuitive affirmations and later wonder why that manifestation that you want in your life is not happening. I know that people don't do this consciously, but you have to understand that negative images work just as positive images work. And we learned last week that there's only two emotions, love and the opposite of love, fear. And you can hang everything on that. So when you think about a feeling, when you're thinking about an image, always ask yourself, is it created in love or is it created in fear? So when you have jealousy, envy, hatred, scared, or that's all about fear, versus if you have joy, excitement, love, that's all created in love. So always think and ask yourself, how is this image or this affirmation created? Is it created in love or is it created in fear? And that'll be a great tool. So we're going to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to kind of pick up more about this, and I'm going to talk about how you can be a client of mine. So once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life Radio. I'm coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and I'm your host, Maisha. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Maisha, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we were talking more about just the subconscious mind. We were just kind of going over the techniques and understanding why the concept of manifesting is so important before going through the steps of creating. I mean, I could tell you the steps, and I think I did go over them the first time we had the show. But if you don't really understand these concepts, these foundational concepts, you can try the 5 steps of manifesting all you want, but it won't really resonate with you. You'll get frustrated, and people don't understand that understanding how connected to God, source energy, and having your mind and your heart work together is the key foundation steps of manifesting what you want. And through that, you also need to understand things that reside in your subconscious mind that you have to deroot. And so throughout this show and throughout the series, I hope you liked the series. I talked about certain things that I work with my clients one-on-one, just certain things I didn't have enough time to go over during the show. And if you are ever interested in kind of working with me one-on-one, there are many different ways to doing that. I did talk about that I am an energy healer, and so I perform both energy work and just with the chakras and with your auras. And also I do Reiki. And for people who question, how does energy work? It's really that you need to understand that everything is energy. The human energy field is what everything is connected to. It's from our thoughts, our feelings, our sight, auric fields. All illnesses and energetic spiritual concepts are connected through the energy field. So every part of the human is connected to a spiritual, emotional, and physically, mentally are connected somehow to the God source super energy. So if you're carrying something on your body like fear, resentment, and over time, it really affects the organs, parts of our bodies. So by working with the energy field, you first kind of clear out the things that, harbor us, that are attached to us, that are not bringing us positivity or bringing us the waves that we want of love and joy to be attracted to us. So it's kind of cleaning that clutter, decluttering that energy field and kind of working that out. So you can attract what you want into your vortex, into your energy field. And this is what I do through an energy work session. Another thing that I think helps with people in manifesting is going to the Akashic records. All of us have a book of life, so to speak, and it's our soul life. And really understanding the path that we take and our soul path in creating things in our life. And this is something that is done one-on-one. I allow people to ask 20 questions, and what we speak to is your masters, your teachers, and your loved ones to kind of understand what is the best path or the best way to kind of work something out in your life. That's a really wonderful concept to kind of do and to kind of find out what's in your subconscious mind that's holding you back. And then, of course, we have my intuitive coaching. I have several packages on that. And It depends on how deep you want to kind of go into manifesting something in your life. Some people have picked the 12-month program, and in the 12-month program, you have an assessment of what what you're trying to create in your life, and then you have 4-hour sessions, and which are 3 bonus session. And it also includes your Akashic readings, your Reiki, and your energy work. So go to my website, find out what more you want to know about these type of sessions, and I hope I hear from you soon. But until next week, I want you to just really understand that you are the master of your universe and you can create whatever you want and make that desire in your heart real. This is Maisha, and I hope you learned a lot from Attracting Your Life radio show.